Cancer South nodes and Capricorn North nodes together with these two placements in tandem struggle from family issues, being pulled down by family, being told what to do and what not to do by family, having to take care of everybody's emotional issues instead of taking responsibility for your own issues in a way where you are not overly needing to rely on others, where it holds you back from being who you are and taking care of everybody else's emotional needs, and you feel constrained by that. You feel drained by that, and you can't go out and create safety for yourself and go after your goals, and it becomes a battle for freedom and independence. And it's about not breaking away from the emotions, but not giving in where you feel like it's keeping yourself small, or feeling right could be a paradox of what feels familiar between what feels healthy. In this very, very in-depth video, warning, this is a very, very deep video, this will probably be a very, very long video, so get comfortable, get a snack, get a drink or something, because I'm going to be going very, very deep into this placement, and you clicked on this video for a reason, because you wanted the deep dive into this placement, and I do believe that this video will be very, very deep. So settle in. It's going to be a very, very, we're going to be really, really delving into and unpacking this placement in probably more detail than you may be used to, who knows. And I'm going to delve right in. We're going to be starting with reading from Jen Spiller's Astrology for the Soul, which is the book about the nodes. If there's one book out there, if you only get one book about the nodes, I would say get this one, because this is the book. So let me turn to, but first of all, I want to read to you some dates of the South Node in Cancer, North Node, and Capricorn, so that you get a better understanding of what transit you were born during, that displacement, with the nodes are moving through these signs, and what transit you were born with. So I want to read those dates off to you. So the first time that the North Node transited through Capricorn was June 1st, 1916 to February 13th, 1918. And then again from March 9th, 1935 to September 14th, 1936. I want to stop right here. My grandfather had the North Node in Capricorn, South Node in Cancer. And he was an artist, he was a painter, and he taught advanced painting at Northwest Missouri State University, where my grandparents live. His childhood, very, very traditional. His father and his family held him back from pursuing his dream of being a painter, and they would actually get into some very, very intense arguments that he would have with his family about him wanting to be independent and break free, and he was being sort of gaslighted in a way where he was told, like they're gaslighted into thinking that they're not worthy to be the person that they want to be out into the world and go after their goals. Like he was sort of put down, like you can't do this, you can't go after this, you can't realize this dream, you can't pursue this because it's not traditional, it's not against the family structures, or you're not going to gain a whole lot of money from it. It's not, like with Cancer, South Node, Capricorn, North Node, they can really, really be held down by family traditions very, very strongly. Family traditions, family customs, everything like that, they can be held down by it. And I do believe that my grandfather was held down by these traditions in a way where he was restricted from really being his true self out in the world. And of course, what he did was not straying too far from home. He ended up getting his, degrees in painting, and he ended up becoming a very, very successful um, professor of painting at the university near his home, in the same town as his home, not moving, to another country or to another state, like staying home, but getting out and making something. And he did end up, you know, doing what his soul wanted him to do. Like, this is a placement of living up to your potential in this life. This is like your soul's wanting you to live up to your potential. And, it's most important that if you have this placement, you feel like you're doing that. And I do believe that my grandfather felt that way with this placement, living up to what his potential was when it comes to being this very, very successful professor at this university. And so, that's what I want to say to that. And then Julie Andrews is also somebody who was very, very successful as an actress who had North Node Cancer, born under that transit. My favorite actress of all time, one of my favorite singers of all time. Beautiful voice, very charming voice. And, she is a Libra sun. After all, so that really says a lot. I do believe her moon is in Scorpio, so that makes her, passion for what she's doing very, very intense and very, strong. It would be really neat to study her chart. But anyway, that is that transit. And then October 10th, 1953, through April 2nd, 1955, somebody that I also knew had this placement. My mom's cousin had this placement. A pastor that I knew, who is at the local church in the town where my grandparents live, where my grandma lives now, he has this placement. And the person that also has this placement is Oprah Winfrey. Her childhood was very, very rough. I heard a whole thing about her childhood, where she was, rejected from being this, big person that she is now. And look, she has really stepped into her North Node in Capricorn very, very much. Look at who she has become in the life. A millionaire who is a network named off of her, who did an Oprah show, was in movies, wrote books. Very, very successful. I mean, she is the living embodiment, the true embodiment of somebody who had a very tough childhood growing up with, not being told that she could be an actor, and being, rejected for her race and everything like that growing up, and being sort of, taken out of the family, where she was, not allowed to be included in the family. So, that whole childhood growing up was very, 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 very rough, and I do have a lot of empathy for what she went through with that. But she, she took that and she proved them wrong, where she became this person who was very, very, successful, and, went after her goals, and with her Aquarius sun, did it in a way that served humanity. So that Aquarius Sun Capricorn North Node is very much about independence. And independence is a very, very big theme for North Node in Capricorn. You're going to find that. So, that is that transit of the North Node in Capricorn there. And then again, from April 28, 1972 through October 27th, 1973, Neil Patrick Harris has this placement. Somebody else has that placement that were born during those dates. And then November 19th, 1990 through August 1st, 1992, again in Capricorn. And then the transit that I lived through, which I'm going to be talking about here, is August 22nd, 2009 through March 3rd, 2011. And I spoke about this in my podcast, on the Real Me podcast, about my school experience. I spoke about the nodes in this experience, and at the time, I was in kindergarten. I was just, I turned 6 in 2010. I was just going into kindergarten at the time, and I was moving away from home. I was becoming more independent. I was getting out into the world. The focus at that time was to move away from the emotional issues of the family and move towards success and achievement and discipline out into the world. So it was kind of a rite of passage for me to move into going to kindergarten at that time in my life, getting into school for the very, very first time. Just when, like, literally, the South Node entered Cancer, North Node in Capricorn, just when I was entering kindergarten back in 2009. So that's what I want to say is my reference point for that. So that is what I will say to that. It just kind of shows my age. So August 22nd, 2009 through March 3rd, 2011. That was that transit. Basically, all of kindergarten, most of the way through first grade for me. So that is that. The next time it will be in Capricorn will be March 27th of 2028 through September 23rd of 2029. So that is the next transit. So now that I went through the dates with you, I'm going to turn to and this is just to start us off. And this is going to cover a lot already. And I may contradict myself a little bit here with the information that I may give, and I'm going to try to, I want to talk about this placement with compassion, because somebody that I used to follow really, really went into the nodal placements, and she did what I was doing, where she had the Jan Spiller's book, and she talked about each and every placement, went through the tendencies to lay behind, attributes to develop, and then spoke to them with compassion, holding space for them. And that's what I want to do with this placement. I want to be honest, and I want to be compassionate with this. So I'm going to turn to the North Node in Capricorn, which is very, very late in the book. North Node in Capricorn is the page that I am turning to with this. 398. Okay. Alright, so let's delve in. I have not actually read this chapter of the book, but I think I know enough to where I can really look at these tendencies very, very carefully. So I haven't even looked at these yet. I haven't even looked in this book at these tendencies just yet. But I am not going into just unfamiliar waters here. So anyway, let us just really, really dive in. The first tendency to leave behind is, and I'm going to have my computer open during this in case I need to look up anything that is worth noting here. So the very, very first thing is dependence. I want to rephrase this. I want to say codependence, because dependence doesn't have to be, dependency is not necessarily a bad thing. It shows the trust and connection to others, like I'm depending upon others doesn't have to be a bad thing. Codependence, on the other hand, is a bad thing. So I want to rephrase this, codependence. Cancer South Node, Capricorn North Node is very, very codependent. Because they overly rely on their family for things. They overly rely on their family to take care of their emotional needs, their emotional wants, their physical needs, their food, their what they want to do out into the world, and whatever. Like, they have a dependence towards this that is so strong that they can't go out and make something of themselves in the world, which is the North Node in Capricorn. So they struggle from dependence, overly reliant on the family. Not only this, but caring for others' emotional needs, overly caring for that, overly managing everybody else's needs instead of their own needs. That's what they suffer from. Moodiness. They can let their emotions take away from their rational, logical thinking when it comes to the decisions that they need to make out into the world. Where they can be very, very moody. They can be very, very emotional, very, very temperamental, because it's Cancer that we're talking about after all. Like, you are made of water. You are an emotional being if you have Cancer, South Node, Capricorn, North Node. So, moodiness. Like, you have, you can allow your emotions to get the better of you, making logical decisions for your life, and allow you to really, these emotions hinder you from achieving your goals and acting in a responsible, pragmatic way. So you can be very, very moody, where you can just do things out of the want and the comfort of, oh, it just feels good to do this, so I'm going to do this. Oh, it feels good to do this. So, that is going to be fine, but it is going to hold you back from what your soul is whispering you to answer to, which is, what do you want to do for yourself? And what do you want to do for yourself? And these emotional comforts and crutches that you hold on to, based off of moodiness. And I also think that moodiness can also be acting in very, very childish ways, acting very immature ways, instead of grounding your emotions, responding rather than reacting, and all of that. So then, insecurity leading to inaction. Now this is also big, because you feel like there's no way to be safe. So you try everything that you can to be safe in this life. And this insecurity that you have is something that is within you, that just kind of stirs up the pots within you. And it's kind of, it's like you feel not worthy of taking action to do what you want to do in your life. Like, Capricorn is an initiator, it's a goal setter, it's a goal achiever. It just acts, it takes action in a responsible, grounded way, but it takes action. So this insecurity could really, really, get the better of you if you're not, very, very aware of it, aware of when you, do feel very, very insecure. And I think this insecurity can stem from, what are they going to think of me? Are people going to reject me from taking action? Are people going to reject me for going after my goals? Am I going to be excluded? Am I going to be shut out? And there's this over dependence on the family, where you rely on the security of that, and that takes away from you living a life of independence and living an adult life. And I think that part of this, a really, really big part of this is like, what does it mean to be adult? You have to just adult and grow up and do all that. I don't want to say that. But what does it mean to be an adult? Like, really, really consider that. And you may be very, very uncomfortable with that thought. Like, I realize you may be watching this, you may be like, oh, I don't know. I'm very, very uncomfortable with that whole idea of growing up and being an adult. It really is freedom, and it can be very, very empowering and liberating to be an adult. Because when you're an adult, you can make your own decisions. You're responsible for your own life. You can do whatever you want to do because you have the freedom. You're not tied down by your parents and, family or, whatever. There are some things that you have to do and responsibility and some things that you have to work through. That's part of going on the train and becoming an adult. But it is freedom. Really, really is freedom. So I thought that I would mention that. Limiting self through fear. Oh, fear is a big issue. Fear is a very, very big thing. This placement can suffer through a lot of fears, and often fears around, it's like, guess what? You're seeing that island on the other side of the lake and the river, and it looks so inviting. If that water, when you step into it, is so cold and so hard that you just back up and you're just not willing to go in this direction, but it's being willing to face the fear and get yourself out into the world and do something. Like I want to bring up, Rapunzel, how Rapunzel got over the fear from her over-controlling mother wanting to keep her in her tower, but she got over the fear by, going out of her tower and doing all that and going out into the world and experiencing what it was like. So that's North Node and Capricorn, like getting out into the world. And it's going to feel so empowering for you to do this. Like this is a North Node of empowerment. And so it's not all business and, structure and all of that stuff. It is empowerment. It really, really is. And I have a Taurus North Node, so that is very, very, like the Earth North, like being an Earth North Node, like the lesson of an Earth North Node is to be empowered, to have a strong sense of self-worth, to create a life for yourself, create your own structures, your own routines, and be at peace with yourself instead of taking care of everybody else's issues and drawing healthy boundaries towards others draining you. Like those are some of the lessons of being an Earth North Node. So, so what can happen is you limit yourself through fear. Like you hold yourself back through this fear of, of I'm not adequate enough to go out and make something for myself. I'm not adequate for myself to accomplish what my soul is calling me to accomplish out of fear of leaving the nest. Like you just depend so much on the security of your family to give you that blanket of security that you're afraid of independence and breaking away from the family. Well, like this is a really, really huge fear for you. And just know, like I have compassion for this. I have Saturn in Cancer. So I have a lot of compassion for those with this placement because I have a Sun in Aries in the 4th house. I have Saturn in Cancer. Saturn in Cancer is very, very similar to this because Saturn placements are very similar to Saturn placements because Saturn in Cancer can struggle with, making something of themselves and nurturing themselves and creating a security of themselves because they weren't given that when they were little. Like, I really, really, do feel what you are going through with this is this fear, this insecurity. And I think it's natural for everybody to feel insecure about leaving the family and doing that. I mean, I'm 21 years old and I'm still living at home, with my parents, and I'm still very, very connected to my family, and I probably always will be. And I just, don't throw these people into the deep end. Like, I don't want to be thrown into the deep end of the pool all of a sudden, where I have to go out and be an independent adult and live a life where I have to make my own way around the world and do it. Like, it's scary. It's scary. And I feel for you with this. I really, really do. And, enough to say that it is best for this placement to slowly and gradually ease itself into becoming more of an adult this life. And I'm saying this because this will be my situation. I will not be just thrown into the deep end. I will be slowly and gradually, one step at a time, becoming an adult. The next tendency is using the past to avoid the present. Now, what can happen with Cancer South Node and Capricorn North Node is that Cancer is very, very nostalgic. And there's this emotional longing, this emotional attachment. Like, you're wanting to break free from emotional attachment this life, where there's this emotional attachment to the past. And the past can keep you stuck, can keep you trapped, can keep you small. I mean, it's nice to look back at the past and reminisce the past and think of the past and look at the wonderful memories, but you can't go back to the past. You cannot go back. It happened. That happened. That is not your reality anymore. Whether you, like it or not, it's not the reality anymore. So, what are you going to do in the present moment? What are you going to do now? Like the regrets of the past, the memories of the past, like, oh my gosh, I really, really feel for you, because like, it can be very, very difficult for this placement if they're constantly moving around in their childhood. Moving to a new school, moving to a new house. If a family member passes away with this placement that is very, very dear to them, this placement can really take it hard, because it's so into that emotional, subject matter of the past so much that it's a heavy emotional energy. And, you can really, really use the past to get out of the present. Like, there's something to be said about, like, sitting out at a, cafe or something, drinking a cup of coffee, and just sitting. Just, sitting with yourself. One thing you can do is you can look around you and notice all of what is going around you. Notice what you can taste, touch, smell, see, and hear around you. And you can look at your feelings in the present moment. Well, Cancer South Node is very, very in touch with its feelings. And you come in with that gift of being very, very in touch with your feelings. You are so good at leaning into your emotions, and you have such high emotional intelligence that you are so validating of your own feelings, yet you're not. Like, in this life, you're learning to validate and hold space for your own emotions and take care of yourself this life, which is also a Cancer North Node lesson for the Capricorn South Node. So you see how these overlap. Just sitting with yourself, choosing to live for today. What can I do in the now? Like, we live in 24 hours, here and now. There's a card from Colette Baron Reed's Wisdom, the Oracle card called Here and Now. Like, being here and now. Capricorn is, and now, because it's like, what can I do that's constructive, that's concrete, that's, realistic, and feasible, you know, in the now. It wants to make something of itself in the now. It's not concerned with the past so much. So that's what I want to say about that. Isolation, spending too much time at home. Well, that is true to a point. It's not that you are just sheltered and you need to get out of family because of, it goes both ways. I mean, yes, you are so familiar with the security life. And security, this is the thing with Cancer South Node. Okay. You are so familiar with home life that you're so secure in it. And you're so trapped in home life with the emotional security that it gives you. But you also feel this need for emotional security when your home is a very difficult place to live in. Quite often with this placement, your home can be a place full of jealousy, comparison maybe, but mainly a place that is very top down, where the parents are telling you this is what you must do, and you didn't have a very, very nurturing life growing up. Nobody understands you for who you are. Nobody accepts you and sees you for who you are. You're not seen with loving eyes. You're not taken care of in the way that you want to be taken care of. You feel unloved. You feel hurt by the family, like an emotional pain from the family, because you just feel like they're being so harsh and mean to you, and at worst cruel to you. And yet you feel emotionally secure despite this. Despite this, you feel secure, even though it is such a bad situation. It may be such a bad situation for you. It's a really, really bad situation. And yet you live off of this security because it's familiar. It's the only thing that you know. It's like your comfort zone that is just so, and the South Node is your comfort zone. So comfort zone that is so familiar, yet it's so rough, and you have fears around breaking out of that, because it's kind of like an abuser who keeps telling you that you're unworthy and you're a bad person or whatever. And you get so used to that, it becomes so familiar that you feel secure with that because you get so accustomed to it. It's kind of, like that. So that's my insight on that particular tendency. Really, again, being pulled down by family. Living a very, very sheltered life in a way where you feel, that is true, but it's not that you're just, living such a nurturing life and that you need to get out of that nurturing life and just become out of the world and abandon your perfect, home nurturing life. It can be a very, very negative childhood growing up. You could have a very, very negative growing up experience. And staying stuck in that home, in that small little environment, feeling unable to break out of that, and yet your soul is whispering to you, break out of it. Break free. Let go. Get out of this constraining environment that is your home. It's a very serious thing for Cancer South and Capricorn North Node. Lack of self-respect. And I want to look up self-respect and what it means to have self-respect, because this is a huge lesson. You're going to find the whole concept of this video with this video. Self-respect is the internal it's about you valuing yourself. And I actually have it written down. I'll come back to self-respect, because I explained it later, and I'll refer back to that later in this video. But self-respect can be you valuing yourself, you being accountable and responsible for your own actions, and saying, I'm not going to let my family hold me back from what I want to do. And having the self-respect to approach conflict in ways that are rational, that are, from a grounded place. From a grounded, calm, stable, rational place. And this being rational, and this being, calm, like Earth is grounded. It's not only practical and logical, but it is grounded, like feeling grounded and secure within yourself and rooted. Like there's something so healing about that. Where you feel grounded, like you can have, like you're in the energy of self-worth, you're in the energy of calm, living from the inside out. I keep saying that over and over again. It's going to become a cliche for me. But being grounded, where you are not so caught up in the emotions of it, not so sucked into all these emotions, and yet you are standing up for yourself and being honest and being logical about what you want and your goals and what you want to achieve and what you need to achieve to be secure in the world for your own personal, material, physical, emotional security. So having self-respect is just so important. It is a huge lesson for Capricorn North Node. Also, avoidance of risk. This is also Pisces South Node tendency that I was discussing with them on Monday of last week. Avoidance of taking risks, it goes back to fear. Like fear around taking risks. Like Capricorn is a risk taker. It reaches to the highest summit, climbs up this big mountain, and goes big. Like those who are very, very big in this life took all these risks. Look at all the people who were very, very successful and made names for themselves in life. They took risks, and like Oprah is an example of somebody with displacement who was willing to take the risk, and look who she became. So, not avoiding the energy of risk, and being willing to say I'm willing to take a risk, like I'm willing to put myself out there, and I'm willing to go out of my comfort zone and willing to do something that maybe I'm a little afraid of, I'm very, very uncomfortable with, but I know that I will be better for it. I will feel fulfilled with taking this risk. Also, controlling others through emotional reactions. This is another really, really big tendency for Cancer South Nodes. Is, okay, let me sit with this. You can, emotionally manipulate others and control others emotionally. Try to, like, you're passive aggressive. You're passive aggressive. You try to gain control through all this emotional manipulation. All this emotional, just getting into everyone and trying to feel safe and secure, manipulating others. And, it comes from this very, very insecure place. Like, you feel very, very insecure as a Cancer South Node on an emotional level. And, you think that, you can get your way through it manipulating others through how you react and how you act to others in very, very emotional ways instead of, more grounded ways. Like, you're learning to be more grounded and tempered and solid in your reactions and not so emotional, childish, and temperamental. So I want to leave it at that. Moving on to the North Node and Capricorn attributes to develop with this. So the first one is self-control. There's nothing wrong with giving in your pleasures, giving to emotional pleasures. But don't use that as a way to avoid your problems. Don't use that as a way, as a crutch, to avoid doing what you need and want to do in the world, of what the responsibilities that you feel that is right for you to do. Like, self-control. Like, Capricorn is a self-controlled sign. It's a disciplined energy. Where it's like having a goal and not veering off and not allowing it. Like, Capricorn does not allow itself to engage in all those pleasures and all those distractions of all those temptations and cravings, because it is just determined to reach the goal. It will do anything in its heart to reach that goal, even if it has to put aside, relationships and emotional pleasures. Like, it sacrifices its short-term. Like, it understands the importance of delayed gratification. Like, Capricorn is like, suffer now, benefit later. Like, Capricorn doesn't suffer, but Capricorn sacrifices its own immediate emotional pleasures for something greater that it wants to achieve. So you're learning to do this. You're learning to step into this. Where you're not allowing your cravings and temptations, like, it may feel so comfortable to give into these things, but notice and be aware of how by doing this, you're keeping yourself from living the life that you truly want to live. So Capricorn is about living the life that you want to live and not letting your emotions and cravings and whatever, like having self-control, having moderation to not give in so much and keep discipline with something. So that's what I want to say to that. And then adulting is the next attribute to develop, approaching life from an adult position, from a very, very rational, mature position, from something very, very logical, from something very, experienced. Well, I don't want to say experienced, but I think that, being an adult, I kind of already explained that a little bit, but, there's so much I could go into with that. And self-respect. I've already sort of talked about having self-respect. Staying goal-oriented. Having a goal and sticking to it. Having plans and sticking to it this life. Like, you're meant to have a plan and stick to that plan and see it through. Capricorn is the goal-oriented sign, where it has these big long-term goals out of need for its own security and its own, material security. So it has these goals that it's very, very grounded with its goals, and it does all this. Capricorn is a goal-oriented energy. And then not relying on your emotions to, get the better of problem solving. Like, you can let your feelings sort of take you away from that rational, logical place of solving problems and that sensible approach to problem solving, a very, very practical approach that you have. Like, it keeps you from being practical, and instead you make emotions, which, these emotions, not that they're wrong or bad, but, okay, I want to rephrase this. Making decisions out of insecurity instead of security, out of a rational, secure place. Because when you are secure, then you will feel more rational, you'll feel more grounded. And so making decisions out of your fears and insecurities, like I invite you to get away from this and not make decisions from this place. So that's what I want to say to that. And then keeping your commitments to yourself and promises, not allowing your emotions, not allowing your insecurities to keep you from your emotions to keep you from doing that. Keeping all these things very, very huge. Letting go of the past, I've already talked about that. Self-care. Oh my gosh. Both Capricorn and Cancer North Node are learning self-care. Capricorn South Node because it's so shut down in emotions it needs to lean into its emotions. Capricorn North Node because it's so concerned with everybody else's stuff and everybody else's emotional issues and dramas and things that you just notice your energy. Notice what happens to your energy when you're so involved with everybody's emotional things and experiences. Notice how you feel drained through this. Notice the emotional drain and your vibrations low. You feel sad. You feel hurt. You feel all these feelings. Notice that when you're so far into taking care of others that now with all that nurturing energy that you've given to others in your life, now other people, taking care of others' needs, overly caring for others' needs, where you feel like you're responsible, it's a burden to take care of. I'll get into that, but this placement is about taking all of that energy that you give to others and turning it in on yourself, caring for yourself, taking care of your own emotional needs. You know what? And I have to mention this. I highly recommend to you Flying Your Bird meditation by Colette Baron Reid. That meditation, I think, would be so healing for you because in that meditation, you're in a place which gives you, you're so drained by that place. You're so it's such a bad, negative, saddening, angering, harsh place that gives you anxiety, emotional anxiety, and you're rising above that place and you're getting perspective. You're here this life to gain perspective, doing things to give you a sense of perspective, getting out of the home and moving into and getting it can be so healing for you to get out and meet people outside of your family. It'd be so healing for you to, get out and go to, get yourself in business or, form your career. It's so healing because you're getting perspective and you're out of that whole emotion. It is so healing, Cancer. You're going to find that you just feel so liberated. The place looked small, so small from where you are now. And you're going to find that you're going to feel so liberated in this life. Capricorn North Node is about emotional liberation. And you've really, the universe is really, really giving you a gift with, giving you the chance to, get away from all these, issues that keep you very, very small. That's what you're here to do. This is a profound placement for the South Node, and North Node. And then accepting responsibility. Like taking responsibility for your life, taking accountability for your life, and knowing that you can't control everybody else. Like, stop expecting yourself to control everybody else's stuff in life and issues. Be in control of your own life. Know that you can only control yourself and take responsibility for yourself and move in that direction. So that's the end of that. Now, I'm going to delve even deeper, because this is what I do with these placements, is they are very, very deep. So, that is that. We're already 50 minutes in, and we are going strong late into this video. So, yeah, this is the video where if you want to this is the part of the video where if you want to pause and take a break, I would. And then come back. I will probably just continue on, but if you want to take a break and, do something, then, you by all means can at this point in the video, because this is the halfway point of the video. That was part 1. This is part 2, the even deeper dive. So that is that. Now let us so some of these things I've already covered, so I'm going to skip over some of these things. The North Node in Capricorn is inviting you to stand up for yourself. Standing up for yourself and working for your own goals instead of those goals that family wanted you to achieve. Like this is the typical thing with this placement. The typical parents who want you to go to college and get a degree. Go to this certain college, who want you to become a doctor, who want you to become a lawyer, who want you to become successful in business, in computer, and marketing, whatever. There are goals that they have for you that, I'm not loving you for who you are. You have to fulfill my goals and my plans for you and my ideal for you instead of what you want. Like, we are all individuals and we want different things. We have to respect each other's sovereignty. Like, we cannot control others and tell others how to be. We have to let others move on their own soul path, because we're all born with the soul path. And this life is about following what your soul is leading you towards and going after what your soul wants you to go after. So, this is about really, really having the courage and developing the muscle, like developing backbone. You're here to develop backbone in this life. Capricorn has a lot of backbone. And this is what you're here to cultivate, is this muscle of standing up for yourself. And choosing, like I was seeing a Red Frost Fearless Motivation where they were saying, like, don't let naysayers and don't let family hold you back from your dreams. And it's almost like there's this dynamic where it's almost like a nurturing kind of protectiveness, a nurturing kind of constraint, where it's like it's emotional manipulation. It's they are, there's this word, I can't put my finger on it. I feel like this is a really, really good word to use. There's this, emotional manipulation when it comes to family members being so nurturing and so loving, but check in with yourself. Do you feel like you want to go in your own direction? Do you feel like your soul is calling you to go out and focus on your own dreams, go after your own dreams and do all that? Yet, a family member says, like, I can take care of you. I can feed you. I can do all of this. Like, there was a reference in a Darman film where this girl wanted to be a painter, and her father understood her with, you can do anything you want, and the mother said that he didn't know how to face reality, and she tried to keep her from going after her dreams because the mother doubted her. People in your life that doubt you from going after your dreams. People that think that you're not strong enough to deal with the outside world and deal with getting around in the world. Like that's how it can feel. Where they say you can't do it because they're trying to protect you and trying to keep you safe, but really, what about keeping you stuck? Keeping you small? Keeping you from living your dreams? And your soul is like, I want to go out and achieve something, but this feels so inviting because this family protects that they want to take care of me, but I so want to achieve it. Like it's this push-pull between you wanting to go after your goals and I feel feeling like you're going to hurt others. Like it's this guilt tripping, like this making you feel guilty. Like family members getting into your psychology and making you feel so guilty for doing this. Like if you go against them, then you're hurting them. Then you're wrong. Then you just let them down. Then they made all these promises like they're going to take care of you and all that, but it feels selfish and not right and unruly to go after my goals when it's not, because they are the ones that are keeping you stuck. Like stand up to even the ones that you care closest about. Like Cancer, Capricorn, North Node is about detaching from that emotional bond, and actually you are a sovereign being and you can stand up to your family and say, I love you, but I'm going to live my own life, and I have my own goals, and I have my own, plans, and my own way of living, and do my own thing. Thank you for all the, support that you're giving me, and all the, love that you're giving me, but I'm going to go after it. This is having self-respect. This is about having self-respect. Well, you're leading into having self-respect in life. So, another thing, I keep saying that like that. I don't know why I have that habit of saying another like that. It's very Libra moon of me to say that, very American Libra moon of me to say that. I don't know if that's a trait, but anyway. Making plans and sticking to them. Setting goals and sticking to those goals and not allowing you to become, unfinished because of emotions. Like I've already talked about that, becoming more efficient with those things. Self-respect is also boundaries. Like North Node and Earth, I think I've stated this before, like the beauty of having an Earth North Node is that we are meant to create healthy boundaries in our lives. That's what we're meant to create, is boundaries. And so, you're meant to create boundaries with others. Like really be assertive of how you want to be treated. Like state, this is how I want to be treated. I'm not willing to be treated in the way that is not me, that is not being treated in a way where it is not, where others are not seeing your worth and not seeing you for who you are, and not respecting your goals and ambitions. Like those who do not respect your, not only you wanting to achieve your goals, but your drive, your ambitious drive to make something happen. So that's what I want to say to that. Being rational with decision making, not allowing your emotions to take over. Again, it comes back to rationality with decisions. Not being too too emotional with that word holds you back from Because these emotional decisions that you make are often, again, your insecurities. And how you can get out of that is by moving up into the rational mind, and then you will feel more secure within yourself when you act from a rational, grounded place as opposed to the emotional place. Because in your emotions, your emotional realm is just filled with insecurity and fear. So it's about detaching from that and saying, this is the decision that I'm making, and it is not based off of this. It is based off of what is the right thing to do. Like your soul is calling you to be more rational in this life, basically. So, okay. And the not sacrificing, your ambitious drive for others. Like not sacrificing your drive just for making others happy, just for making your family happy, just for fitting in and getting along with your family. Like, this is conditional. Like your family life, like if anyone knows conditions, being loved in a conditional way, it's Cancer South Node, because you're so familiar with the conditions that the family has given you and the feeling of conditional love. And I feel like this kind of mirrors a lot of Saturn Cancer, which I'm going to talk about on another podcast episode. But sacrificing your your ambitions just for family is also a downside here. Because you feel like this is how I'll be loved. I won't be loved. Like conditional love is, I love you only if you do this, and only if you follow by my rules and do what I want you to do, not what you want to do. That is not love. Okay, that is not love. I don't know how you can go around it. There's no sides to it. There's no love. That's not love. So, I'm not sacrificing that. Now, growing up, you may not have felt like being a nurturer. You're very familiar with the energy of nurturing others. So, growing up, it's very, very likely that you may have not felt nurtured as being a child. It's very, very likely. Not feeling nurtured as children, where you spent so much of your emotional energy nurturing others that you sacrificed your own emotional and physical needs. Like, this is what you did. You've sacrificed that for just taking care of others, being responsible for others, attending to every little wound on the skin, every little problem, every little saga, every little sadness, every little thing. Like, it's like this, like Super Nanny. I'm thinking of Super Nanny now because, like, this is such a Cancer Southern dynamic. Like, a mother who has all these children and all these children and mouths to feed, that she's running around and doing all this and attending to everyone's needs, that she feels drained, and she feels like, wow. When can I get some peace? Can I just get out of this? Can I just feel free? Can I just feel grounded and peaceful within myself? Can I just take care of myself instead of having to take care of everybody else? Like, it's this kind of feeling that I'm talking about. Now, something that I cannot help but think of with this is in Stranger Things Season 2, when Elle, the girl, was in this rainbow room, and her mother got in there, and as soon as she was about to interact with her child, people just took her away, put her under some sort of like numbed her and put her under not a spell, but basically took her mind and then just made it a sequence over and over and over, and put her under, and not put her under exactly, but like tamper with her, and and the point that I want to make up with that is rough childhoods, separation from your family. There's this close emotional bond with the family. There's this fear of being separate from your family. There's this fear of you separating yourself from your family. There's this fear of being away from your family and being, what if I'm alone? What if I'm all out in the world and alone? I feel you. I completely feel you. So that's why I wanted to bring that up. But so, now you're very, very sensitive. Those who have this placement, very, very sensitive individuals. You're so hurt easily because you're so tender. And you get your feelings hurt easily. Like being resilient. Like being emotionally resilient. So that you can build up a shell with not being hurt so easily, but being strong within yourself and saying, I'm not letting others' emotions hurt me. I'm building up a wall to protect myself from feeling hurt. From feeling hurt, from feeling, just like my emotions are being walked all over. So that's something that I wanted to mention with that. And then, I already talked about that. Being codependent to others that don't respect you, that don't value you, and yet you're being codependent to these people. Yet you're being codependent, and you're, overly relying on them, for emotional security when they are not right for you. So dealing with the real world. Getting in touch with the real world and making something of yourself in that real world. Like in the real world, there are responsibilities to take care of, and there are things that you can do, and there are opportunities that don't shut out these great opportunities that the universe is opening for you because of your fear and insecurities. I'm just imploring you not to do this, because that is living a very, very small life. Don't you want to live a big life? Don't you want to live a very, very successful, prosperous life? Well, it can be where you are feeling strong and feeling good within yourself, feeling worthy within yourself when it comes to achieving these goals. So, and North Node in Earth signs is also about worthiness. That's a huge part of it. And then you may be emotionally idealistic growing up, where your emotion is where your intuition is calling you to become more rational, to look at the facts of things. We're becoming emotionally idealistic means wanting just things to be this perfect emotional place and perfect emotional setting with everyone getting along, and it most likely wasn't like that. So there's this expecting others to be emotionally involved with you when you don't rationally communicate your needs. Like again, you don't rationally communicate. Like this is what passive aggressive again, where Cancer's not directly, it goes around the issue, it does all this. I'm saying it is better for you to, it is right for you to assertively communicate, this is what I need. And being honest about that, and being transparent about that, instead of finding ways of manipulating others for those needs emotionally. So, taking back your power from those that drain you, from those that, from family that keeps you stuck in, the emotions and all that, like taking back your power, like this is North Node about taking back your power, taking back your autonomy, taking back, you being strong within yourself, and, that kind of thing. So, then, there's also, blaming others instead of taking responsibility. Like, with this comes blaming, because you're so familiar with the other energy that you're not familiar with the self energy so much. So, blaming others for your emotional issues, like, like, oh, if, they did this to me, and, I cannot give you an example of how this looks. Like, I'm not the best at giving you examples because I do not yet have that insight in my life just yet. But blaming others, like instead of taking responsibility, like you are meant to, not look to others as the answer to, your issues, and I think I'm trying to figure out why you do this. Why you blame others. Why do you blame others? I mean, that's the question you could ask. Why does Cancer South Node blame others? You can sit with that and wonder about that. I'm moving on. I don't want to spend too long with it. Now, doing what feels right is interesting. You have to separate out two things. Doing what feels right because, it feels familiar, because it feels comfortable, because it feels like something that I've always done, and feels, like so emotionally, like, I've done this so long, and it just feels like something that I'm used to doing, so I'm doing it, it feels right. Or does it feel right to do something that maybe you're uncomfortable with, that may involve taking a risk, that may involve, facing your fears and doing all of this, yet, it feels right, yet it feels healthy. So you have to separate those, out for yourself. And then putting your emotions aside that hinder you from going after your goals and getting things done. I think I've already talked about this. Putting those things aside, not letting your emotions get away with you. You don't always have to give it. You don't always have to give in to these emotions, these emotional needs out of security. You could actually break that security. Like, you're here to redefine security for yourself. Security not being, so tied to, your, like the North Node is what you're redefining based off of that South Node, based off of the axis of the South Node is. And so you're redefining, security, when it comes to not the emotional cravings and temptations and, attending to others and family and all that. You're defining it through, self-respect, calm, grounded, practical, ambitious. So that's how you're, defining it. And, it can feel too much. Well, these emotions can feel too much where they hold you back from doing what you want to do, and, putting it aside so you can focus on what you really want to focus on. Like, what do you really want to focus on? Beyond these emotional cravings and all this, what do you really want to focus on? That's the question you can ask yourself. Capricorn rules history because it's like, as a collective, we have learned through history, like this is the past, and these are all the lessons of the past. And these are all the things that we've learned from the past. And now what we're choosing to do is to look at all those lessons and we don't want to make the same mistakes again. Like, it's about looking at the past, learning from the past, but not dwelling on it, and forming a better tomorrow. Like, what can we do tomorrow to make our lives better? Knowing that we cannot change the past. There's this deep need for emotional security with us. I think this is evident with this placement. There's this fear of uncertainty. Breaking away from the home and family life, and uncertainty about how secure you will feel, and uncertain about the world, if it's going to hurt you, if it's going to be a cruel place, if you're going to suffer in the world, if you're going to struggle in the world. So there's this living small dynamic and not going back, and making of yourself out into the world, as I said before. And so yeah, do not hold yourself back in this life from living that life. You're here to set goals and achieve the goals. You're here to develop self-discipline, staying on course with it. Now, this placement can make, these people with this placement can make excellent managers. Like, managing people and being a CEO or being in control. Like, feel how empowering it is to be in these roles of leadership. And so when you're in these roles of leadership, you lead with empathy and compassion, and love and consideration and kindness for others. Like, you can use your nurturing energy to also not only help yourself, but nurture the others with you being in control. With you are the one in control, and you're using your nurturing others. You're using your nurturing energy in positions of leadership. Not that you're manipulating, doing all that, but you're feeling empowered. Like, you're here to feel empowered this life with managing others. So you can really, really have that talent. Now, you can grow up in a very, very traditional family with family traditions. Like, Cancer is very, very related to family traditions. And you're so familiar with these family traditions that there's this comfort and there's this reliance and security on all of these family traditions that are going on in your life. So, this is, where, yes, so you may grow up in a very, very traditional family with traditional rules, expecting you to behave this way, expecting you to do this and do that. And, what I was reading is that homes can be cults for you. What is a cult? Well, let's explore what that is. A cult is where it's basically where we're in this very comfortable, cozy place. It's a very, very secure place. And others kind of brainwash you into being devoted. Being so devoted to that place where it's hard for you to leave because you're convinced that this is right. Convinced that it's secure. Convinced that it's the right thing for you. That it will deliver you to the promised land and that it will fulfill you. But if you act out and you go against these people who create this cult, against these leaders who create the cult, and create this security blanket for you. If you go against them, then you're going to get hurt and you're very, very violent. And so it could have been like that. Now, Cancer South Nodes are afraid of being controlled by others. They're afraid of being controlled. And this fear is very, very deep. Because they're so familiar with what it's like to be controlled by family. Be controlled by those who just want to keep you at home, keep you following the family traditions, doing the family business maybe, like doing the family business and not creating your own business, of others in your life controlling you emotionally to do what they want you to do in your goals. Like there's this fear around being controlled. Like deep down, you want to be your own person. You want to be your own person and live a life according to your desires, your goals, your ambitions, your values. So there's this deep fear here of being controlled by others. And it's not so much about becoming a boss, it's more about taking control of your life. Maybe throughout your whole life you've struggled to break free of this chains that bind you to be an independent person. We're feeling independent, being independent. May have struggled with this as children, teenagers. Something has to give at some point in your life where you have been tied down and you've been kept from, and others, like proving to them, like, even if it doesn't work out, then I can manage it. I'm strong enough to manage the world. I'm strong enough to live in the world. Like, and this family doesn't think that you're strong enough, that you're capable enough. And this is so not compassionate. Like, Neptune's in Aries right now, where we're supposed to be lifting people up and believing in people as a form of compassion. And this is not compassionate for family to keep you so safe and keep you from achieving your dreams. Like, this is not love. This is coddling. This is conditioning. This is not right. No. Knowing this almost kind of gives me a little bit of an anger. But so, like, when is, like, enough is enough? Like, I have to break free. I haven't done it before. I have to do it now because I've had it. I've reached my limit. I have to be my own person. And it's like, when are you going to finally stand up to these to these people and say, like, no, I love you, but again, I'm going to, again, go back to the same point, but I'm going to go in my own life. So, then another reference is Rapunzel. How the mother in Rapunzel sang that song, "Mother knows best, do-do-do-do-do, it's a scary world out there, do-do-do." And the mother was keeping Rapunzel stuck in this tower because she wanted to protect her, because she didn't think that she could survive the world with with who she was, and this girl was taken away from her parents who lived in this castle, taken away by this Mother Gothel, and put in this tower of Rapunzel, this tower, and basically forced to live there and stay there, and the mother would not let her go. So you can kind of feel like that's where, it's like your family does not know what's best for you. You know what's best for you. You know what's right for you. So there's this emotional bond with the family, like, get out of it and be sovereign within yourself and know that you can make your own decisions for yourself, that you know what is right for you. Family or whoever in your life does not know truly what is right for you. And that is what you're learning to recognize. Yes, they care and yes, they know you, but in the end, you're an individual and you know what's right for you. So that's what you're learning in this life. So, okay. And then you're burdened by solving everyone's emotional issues. That's really, really huge. Where you're stuck with solving these issues of the family and doing all this and burden. It's a burden for you to solve everybody's emotional issues. You were a needs meter. You feel like there's this need to be needed. Like if you weren't needed, then you feel very, very insecure and you felt unloved and you felt unworthy if you didn't feel needed. Like those need to be needed. Like you feel worthy and secure only if you're needed to nurture others, and this is so not true. There's also this need here to be able to predict what the other is feeling and what and what they how they feel about Cancer South Node and what they want them to do in their life and just in general. And if you cannot predict what the other is feeling, if you predict something, then they act in ways that you don't predict them, like, why are you acting in the way that I predicted? Then it makes you very, very insecure because you need the emotional security to be so tuned into the emotional environment that you need everyone to act in certain ways and behave in certain ways emotionally. You will do anything to try to manipulate and control for them to act in all these ways. And so, there is this, need here with this insecurity with this. You may borrow emotions from others and taking on their emotions as your own emotions. Like borrowing these emotions, borrowing, taking on others' emotional pain, others' emotional problems, and all those things, and not being able to separate out your emotions from their emotions. So that's another thing with this. Both with Cancer South Node and Pisces South Node. And then you feel like if you're not needed by others, you'll be shut out. You'll be insecure. You'll be not accepted. That others will just exclude you and just be like oh, we don't need you, so you're not important, you're not valuable, and like stay outside. You're not allowed to sit at the table and eat with us, and you're like all of that, like well, that's kind of that kind of thing. So there's this feeling here with that, and then you yearn to be understood. You just want to be understood for who you are. You just want to be understood for what you want to do out in the world, and you just want to be understood emotionally correctly. And you're vulnerable in a way where you have this tendency to over-explain yourself in situations because just for the safety and security of it. Because this validates you. Like if you over-explain yourself, this lets the others know what you need and what you want, and then your security, and it basically feel like you're only secure if others understand what you're doing, and every little aspect of what you're doing, and every little element of what you're doing, and all the the issues that you've had, and why you've done this, why you did that. Like you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to seek validation from that. You can seek validation from yourself. Validating yourself. This life is about validating yourself. So, because you need to feel safe by doing this, and you're redefining safety. Like you don't have to feel safe by doing this. There's need to push against the family, to push against the rules of the family, and push against the restrictions of that. There's a great fear of disappointing those that you care about if you don't attend to the emotional needs and instead go after your own dreams. So if you don't attend to every little one of their emotional needs, then you'll feel like you disappointed them. Like you've hurt them. Like again, coming back to that point. So I'm just reinforcing these points here. Now, when you do feel safe, you are so driven and so committed and so devoted to achieving your goals and doing what you want to do out into the world. And you don't feel the need to over-explain yourself because you're secure within yourself. You're validating yourself. You don't need to look for the validation outside of yourself to the external world. You're afraid of making yourself stronger and bigger is also another thing. You're afraid of going out and achieving your dreams in the world, so you avoid that fear. You avoid that risk of taking the risk by just staying at home and by doing your thing with taking care of others and nurturing them and getting, all emotionally tied into that mess and that muck and that drama. And instead of not being afraid of your own power to be somebody who is strong, who is powerful, who is willing to go out into the world and be somebody big and somebody proud and prominent. So, so there's this longing for the safety of the family so much that you're afraid if they let you. Like even if they should let you do your own thing, there is this fear of the family letting you do this. Because you're so tied in the family, you're not familiar with it. You're so used to having to ask your family for doing things. You're so used to them saying, no, you can't do this. Like, there's this familiarity to it. Like, and it's like, why, even though this is so bad, and even though it holds you back, like, you're learning, this is the North Node. Like, it's going to feel uncomfortable, but then another part of you is like, this is right. This is where my soul is meant to go. Like, that's how the North Node feels. So, where it feels unfamiliar, like, where it feels like you want to go back to them rejecting you and them putting you down because you're so used to it, because you're so conditioned into it. But it's about breaking out of that and leaving behind what gives you emotional comfort to the point where it hurts you with what you want to do. And then you tend to, rebel against family. Like, this is a placement of rebelling against family when you feel controlled by family. And at some point, you will want to rebel against family and the traditions of family and the patriarchy or the matriarchy of family, of being controlled in that way. You're learning in this life that you create your own safety. You create safety for yourself. You don't have to rely on everybody else for safety, for emotional safety. You don't have to rely on your family for safety. You don't have to rely on them to give you safety. You can give the safety to yourself. You can provide yourself with that safety. That emotional safety that you can create. And you can be empowered to carve out a life for yourself. It's really, really huge. This can be, material safety, financial safety, emotional safety. You can use your need to predict people's responses and reactions. And it's not about demonizing these authority figures and these family members who hold you back. It's about, I am forgiving them. I am at peace with them. I'm not going to let them control me and get the better of what I want to do in my life anymore. The buck stops here. Draw the line in the sand. I'm making peace with my past. I'm making peace with my family, and I'm not letting them get the better of me. Your own safety is possible. What it is possible. Safety is possible, but you're not going to seek it through everybody else and the family. It's going to come from you. So that's what I want to say. And then you can share a lot of, the ones who really, really understand you for who you are those who are on your path, like other fellow Capricorn North Node, for instance, who share your same or similar goals or responsibilities for what you want to do. Find those people and find those type of people that you can really, really bond with and connect with and, get along with in very, very nurturing ways where they understand you and they can work with you to achieve your own goals. So, being with those and connecting with those individuals is very, very huge. This has been long, and I knew it was going to be long, and this has been the end of the Cancer South Node, Capricorn North Node discussion. This is the full treatment and deep dive of this. Hopefully, for those who made it to the end, I'm going to give you a big round of applause and a big, award for making it all the way through. I hope that you took breaks through this. And now I'm going to go have lunch and go take a break before editing this and posting it and doing all that. I'm going to give myself, I'm going to nurture myself, as I was talking about giving myself food and all that. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Cosmic Sky Podcast. If you're watching this on the day that this is getting published, I may or may not record an episode tomorrow on Sunday. Not going to record an episode on Monday, April 6th. It's my birthday. So, anyway, I just wanted to end that off for now. I want to get off now. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Consider following this podcast. Consider doing all the things. I will see you in the next episode of the Cosmic Sky Podcast. Bye.